Be me. 34, sitting at a crowded Saturday brunch spot in the city with my two best friends, Jasmine and Tasha. We've got drinks lined up on the table, avocado toast, the whole girls' brunch vibe. The place is buzzing with couples holding hands across the table, groups of girlfriends laughing too loud, and the occasional guy pretending not to check out the waitresses. I stir my drink with the little black straw, sighing dramatically. Men used to beg just to take me out, I say, shaking my head. Now? They don't even try anymore. Jasmine and Tasha glance at each other, but they nod like they've heard this speech before. Jasmine, always diplomatic, murmurs, "Dating has definitely changed. It's not just you, but I can tell they don't really believe it. And the truth is, neither do I. Back in my 20s, it was non-stop attention. I'd wake up every morning to a row of "Good morning, beautiful" texts, lighting up my phone like little notifications that I mattered. Guys sent flowers to my job, not just cheap grocery store bouquets either. Once, a guy I barely even liked had a florist deliver 24 red roses right to my office desk. The whole floor smelled like perfume for days, and my co-workers teased me about it. I acted annoyed, but secretly, I loved it. Bartenders comped my drinks just because I smiled at them. If I walked into a bar with my girls, it was like sharks circling blood in the water. At least 3 different guys would come up before I even had my first drink. My DMs, flooded, random guys from college, dudes I barely remembered from high school, strangers who found me on Instagram, all begging for a shot. And the funny part? I actually found it annoying. I used to think, God, these men have no self-respect. I'd screenshot corny messages and send them to the group chat. We'd laugh. One flash memory always comes back to me. Chris, my co-worker back when I was 25. Nice guy, quiet, kind of shy. He nervously asked me if I wanted to grab coffee after work one day. Coffee. Not dinner, not drinks, just coffee. I remember going straight to the bathroom, pulling out my phone, and texting Jasmine and Tasha. OMG, guess who just asked me out? Coffee? El Mao. Not my type. We laughed about it. I never went. Now, sitting at brunch, Jasmine casually mentions, "Hey, did you hear about Chris? He just bought a house out in the suburbs. 2 kids now. His wife posts those cheesy family photos every week. He looks happy." I roll my eyes, forcing a laugh. Not like I missed out, but inside, it cuts. Because that man once begged for my attention. He'd have done anything just to sit across from me with a cup of coffee. And now, he wouldn't even look my way. He's not circling anymore. He's settled, safe, and someone else's. I try to shake it off and remind myself of what I do have. At 34, I've got a solid career, a nice apartment in the city, and enough money to travel whenever I want. I tell myself men should want me more than ever now. I've got my life together, I've got independence, but the reality? The only messages I get these days are from guys sliding in at 11 p.m. with "you up," or they'll text "let's vibe" instead of "let me take you to dinner." Nobody brings flowers. Nobody calls me beautiful like they mean it. The begging stopped. The chasing stopped. I push my coffee aside and force a smile for my friends, but in the pit of my stomach, the question gnaws at me. What changed? That night, I'm curled up on my couch with a glass of red wine, scrolling through my old photos on Facebook. My apartment is quiet, just the hum of the fridge and the glow of the screen reflecting on my face. There I am at 23, sequined mini dress, heels in my hand, arm around 3 different guys at a club. I'm laughing so hard my mascara is smudged. Another picture, me blowing kisses at the camera, with 3 vodka cranberries on the table in front of me that I didn't even pay for. In every photo, I'm in the middle of everything. Men leaning in close, girls clutching my arm, flashes going off. I thought it would never end. Back then, being the center of attention felt permanent, like gravity. I assumed men would always line up, no matter how old I got. I scroll further. There's the memory of Jason, my old co-worker. He was the kind of guy everyone liked. Quiet, dependable, always wore button-downs tucked in too neatly. He'd bring donuts for the office on Fridays, never expected anyone to pay him back. Jason used to leave little chocolates on my desk, the fancy kind too, like Lindor truffles. He'd write tiny post-it notes that just said, "Thought you might need this today," with a little smiley face. Looking back now, it was sweet. But at 25, I rolled my eyes. I thought it was needy. One afternoon, he worked up the courage to ask me if I wanted to grab dinner. Not drinks, not hang out, an actual dinner. I remember immediately texting my group chat, creepy. Who even does chocolates and dinner invites in 2014? Like, relax. The girl sent back laughing emojis and told me to block him. Then, as if to confirm my judgment, Jason made me a playlist on Spotify. Actual songs that reminded him of me. He emailed me the link with this awkward little line. Hope this makes your week a little better. I never even opened it. I screenshotted it and sent it to Jasmine and Tasha instead. Playlist guy strikes again, I wrote. We laughed until my phone died, and that was it. I never gave Jason a chance. I left him on red. Instead, I chased after the guys who made me feel like I was in a movie. The DJs who knew my name at the club and slipped me free wristbands. The bartenders who poured doubles and winked like we had some secret. The tattooed motorcycle guy who told me straight up he wasn't ready for anything serious, and I thought I could be the one to change him. My weekends were a blur of shots, dance floors, and half-remembered hookups. I'd go home with guys whose names I couldn't remember by the morning. I slept with a DJ once in the back room of the club while the music was still blasting. I thought that was edgy, liberating. Every time I posted a selfie in a new dress, 50 likes would flood in within the hour, men in my DMs calling me gorgeous, sexy, perfect. That felt like real power. Having attention on tap, knowing I could pick and choose. Jason's chocolates, Jason's playlist, dinner dates. That was boring, predictable. I didn't want stable, I wanted chaos. At least, back then I did. But now? Now, the boring men I dismissed are married. They're posting family photos, wives glowing, babies in little Halloween costumes. Sunday BBQs, Disney trips, corny matching pajamas. And you know what? They look happy. Meanwhile, the so-called fun guys? Half of them are divorced before 40, the other half still chasing 22-year-olds in VIP sections. They never stopped partying. They just stopped inviting me. I snap my laptop shut and refill my wine glass. No regrets, I mutter out loud, even though there's nobody here to hear me. I'm still attractive. I still get looks at the gym. I still have men sliding into my DMs. I tell myself, men should still be begging for me. I tell myself, I'll find someone, but the more I sip, the more it feels like a lie. Because begging is what they used to do. Now, I'm the one waiting. By Sunday night, after the wine and the scrolling and the pit in my stomach, I forced myself to do what I always do when the loneliness hits. Swipe. I told myself, okay, enough sulking. I'm still hot, I still have options, and I deserve a man who knows it. That's when I matched with Mark. 36, engineer, clean cut. He had that look about him. Professional, but not stiff. Confident without the cocky smirk you see plastered across half of Tinder. His photos were normal. One in a button-down at a wedding, another hiking with friends. One of him cooking in a kitchen that looked nicer than mine. Not flashy, but not dorky either. He looked put together. No shirtless mirror selfies in a bathroom. No weird "let's vibe" captions. His bio was simple. Engineer. Family-oriented. Looking for something real. For once, I felt relieved. Finally, I thought, swiping right. A man who isn't just chasing 22-year-olds in clubs. When we matched, his first message wasn't some lazy "hey" or a fire emoji. He actually said, I see you like traveling. What's your favorite place you've been? I remember staring at it for a second, almost suspicious. A guy asking me a normal, thoughtful question? I typed back, Barcelona. I went last year. Tapas and wine every night. I thought I'd never come back. He replied instantly, that's on my list. I've been saving up for Italy next year. Want to try every pasta in Rome? I laughed to myself, curling on my couch with my wine. Okay, this guy knows how to actually talk. We went back and forth for an hour, swapping travel stories, joking about how dating apps are a nightmare, even talking about what books we were reading. It wasn't deep yet, but it felt easy, comfortable. By the end of the night, he said, I'd love to take you to dinner this week. Somewhere real, not just drinks, and my heart skipped. I couldn't even remember the last time a guy said dinner. Not Let's hang, not let's chill. Dinner. I said yes immediately. When we met up that week, he suggested a nice Italian restaurant downtown. White tablecloths, candles, the kind of place where waiters shave parmesan at the table, and the menu doesn't even list prices. I wore my best black dress and heels. I wanted to feel like the girl who used to walk into a room and stop conversations. For the first time in a long time, I did. The date started perfectly. Mark was polite, charming, without being try-hard. He asked questions, actually listened when I talked about my job, my travels, my apartment. He wasn't staring at his phone, wasn't distracted. Honestly, he said at one point, swirling his wine, I'm at the stage where I just want something real. Marriage, family, stability. I've had enough games. I want someone who's done with that too. I smiled, nodding. Yes, exactly. This is what I've been waiting for. But then he added, a little softer. My last few relationships fell apart because of dishonesty. I tilted my head. What do you mean, dishonesty? He took a sip, eyes steady. Both women I dated pretended to be one thing. Serious, family-focused. But I found out they had wild pasts. Hookups, partying, all that. One even lied about how many guys she'd been with. It crushed me. I don't judge people for living, but I need someone whose values actually align with mine. Not just the image of it. His words hit me harder than I expected. I laughed lightly, brushing it off. Well, I definitely had my fun in my 20s. Clubs, DJs, you know how it is. Who didn't? He stiffened. Just a little, but enough. What do you mean by fun? I shrugged, trying to keep it casual. Nothing crazy, just I dated a lot. Hooked up here and there. That's normal, right? He set his fork down. So, how many guys are we talking? I waved it off with a laugh. Does it really matter? Come on, you know everyone experiments when they're young? But he didn't laugh. He just looked at me. Serious. Steady. To me it does, he said finally. It matters if we're building something long-term. I felt my stomach twist. My instinct was to keep it vague. Let's just say I was very social. I didn't want to settle when I was younger. That's all silence. His face fell just slightly, but it was enough to ruin the mood. The air shifted, the candles flickered like they knew something broke. We finished dinner, but it wasn't the same. He was polite, paid the bill, walked me to my car, but the warmth was gone. No lingering touch, no spark. 2 days later, my phone buzzed. Hey, his text read, you seem great, but I don't think we're compatible. I've been down this road before, and I'm done repeating mistakes. I wish you the best. I stared at it, my chest tightening. Repeating mistakes. I wanted to throw my phone against the wall. Why do men even ask about body count if they can't handle the truth? Why pretend it's about values when it's just about control? I told myself that. Over and over. I texted my friends angrily. Ugh, another man who couldn't handle a strong woman with a past. They all sent back clapping emojis. His lost girl, the usual, and the irony burned. Once upon a time, men literally begged for me. Now, even a man who seemed perfect wouldn't even try. The weekend after Mark cut me off, I had to drag myself to my cousin's birthday BBQ. Honestly, I almost skipped it. I wasn't in the mood to watch my relatives parade around their spouses and kids while I showed up solo with a 6-pack of White Claw. But family guilt wins every time. The backyard was full of lawn chairs, balloons tied to the fence, kids running around with popsicles. Everyone was laughing, grilling burgers, holding beers. Normal, happy family stuff. And then he showed up, my cousin David. He's a year younger than me, 33, and for as long as I can remember, he couldn't keep a girlfriend for more than 3 months. He was always that guy chasing, trying, striking out. Except now he wasn't alone. He walked in, holding hands with this petite woman who couldn't have been older than 25. Long black hair, soft smile, sundress that looked like it came straight off a vacation ad. He introduced her with this huge grin plastered on his face. Everyone, this is Marisol, my fiancée. The whole family erupted, cheers, hugs, congratulations. My aunt actually teared up. She treats me like a king, David said proudly, his arm tight around her waist. Honestly, best decision I ever made. I forced a smile, clapping with everyone else. But inside, my stomach turned. Really? He had to import a girlfriend? He couldn't find one here? Marisol blushed when my aunt complimented her, saying in a soft accent, "I just feel so lucky." "He is such a good man, Lucky." She felt lucky? That line stuck in my head like a splinter. When was the last time I felt lucky just to have a man? I made polite small talk with the aunts and uncles, but the whole time my eyes kept drifting back to David and his fiancée. She stuck to his side, smiling at everything he said, laughing at his dumb jokes I'd heard 1,000,000 times growing up. At one point, she even fixed his plate for him: burger, salad, a little scoop of baked beans, like she just knew what he wanted. He looked at her like she hung the moon. Finally, when most people were distracted with cake, I cornered him near the cooler. "So, David," I said, forcing a casual tone, "how exactly did this happen? You went all the way overseas to meet someone?" He grinned, popping open a beer. "Yeah, best decision I ever made. We met when I went to the Philippines with some buddies. Honestly, I wasn't even planning on dating, but she treated me differently than any woman here ever did." "Differently how?" I asked, eyebrows raised. "She's feminine." "Sweet. She doesn't play games. She actually appreciates me." He took a long sip, shrugging like it was the simplest thing in the world. "Look, I used to kill myself chasing women here. They never wanted me. With her, I didn't have to beg. She just wanted me. No power struggles, no nonsense," I scoffed. "So you had to go halfway across the world to find someone who appreciates you?" He didn't even flinch. "Yeah, and it worked. I've never been happier." That stung more than I expected. I pressed harder. "Don't you think it's a little desperate? Flying overseas just to find a girlfriend?" David smirked. "Desperate? Number? Smart? Why keep beating my head against a wall here when there are women out there who actually value men? I'm done begging. And honestly," he paused, giving me a look, "it's not just me. Haven't you seen Ryan lately?" My stomach dropped. "Ryan?" "Yeah, your ex. He's in Bali right now with some gorgeous Colombian girl. Dude's glowing. Posts about her non-stop." I laughed stiffly, waving him off. "Please. Ryan? He's probably the same player he always was." "Check for yourself," David said, sipping his beer. On the ride home, I couldn't resist. My hands were shaking as I unlocked my phone and opened Instagram. And there he was. Ryan. The same Ryan who strung me along for 2 years in my 20s, always not ready for anything serious. Now he was in Bali, arm tight around a stunning Colombian girl, bronzed skin glowing in the sun. Caption: "Never been happier." The comments from his guy friends poured in. "W bro. King. This is how you do it. Smart man." I slammed my phone face down on the passenger seat, my heart racing. Not only are men not begging anymore, they're literally leaving. Not just me, not just women like me. They're leaving entirely, finding women somewhere else, smiling, fulfilled, celebrated by other men for it. Meanwhile, I was driving home alone from a BBQ with nothing waiting for me but wine and Netflix. I stormed into my apartment, kicked off my heels, and poured myself a drink. I muttered under my breath. They just want submissive women, that's all. They're losers. They can't handle a strong woman. These last few weeks have been too much. Mark, the BBQ, Ryan on Instagram. I'm sick and tired of replaying it all in my head. Even my girlfriends aren't helping anymore. All they do is send the same empty, "his loss queen" texts. It doesn't fix anything, so I did something I never thought I'd do. I Googled, "Why don't men want to date women in their 30s? The first article I clicked hit like a slap. Surveys everywhere said the same thing. Men overwhelmingly prefer younger women for long-term relationships. Pew Research, even Tinder data. Average man in his 30s was swiping hardest on women 22 to 26. Another stat, over 70% of men admitted they wanted a partner with a low number of past sexual partners. Words like trust, stability, loyalty kept popping up. I sat there staring at the screen, heat rising in my chest. My stomach twisted. So what? Because I had fun in my 20s, I don't get to be loved now? I slammed my laptop shut. Number. That's not it. Men are shallow, insecure, obsessed with control. They can't handle a strong, independent woman like me. That's the real reason. It has to be.